Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of our Polity Quick Revision series. And in this video, we'll talk about the constitutional office of the Election Commission. So here, we'll talk about the composition of the Election Commission, the provisions ensuring the independence of the Election Commission, and finally, also the powers and functions of this particular office. So without any further delay, let's get started.
Okay, now I also mentioned that we'll take a look at some of the bodies. Okay, how do you go about studying the bodies? See, these you can make a table and sort of like who appoints them, how are they sort of removed, what are their functions. You can have something like this and do this. This will help you in sort of remembering things, and I have done this as well. But more so, if you can think of the logic behind these. Why do we need an election commission? Because we need free and fair elections in the country. And if you see this in the very first sentence, you will see it's an independent body that is required to ensure free and fair elections, and it comes under some article blah 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 of the constitution, right? What is their job? Superintendence, direction and control of elections to the parliament, the state legislatures, the president of India and the vice president of India. Just let this sink in. What are the kind of elections that they are responsible for? There are state legislatures, your parliament, okay, and also the president and the vice president. All of these things come under this one. And election commission is an all India body in the sense that it is common to both the central government and the state government. And if for the panchayats and municipalities, you have a separate state election commission that was sort of brought in later. Okay, in Article 324, election commission shall consist of the election commissioner, and and there will be a chief election commissioner. Okay, I'll just make a note here. There will be a central election commissioner, and then you'll have some election commissioners as well. Okay, now the president, depending upon the from time to time, they will decide how many they want, what is right. The appointment of the CEC and other election commissioners shall be made by the president. President appoints. When the election commissioner is so appointed, the chief election commissioner shall act as the chairman of the election commission. The president may also appoint after consultation with the election commission. Okay, so let us say my CEC plus the election commissioners, okay, plus the president, okay, who is sort of consulting with these guys, and you consult with these guys, and then for what? Then you appoint regional commissioners. Okay, so this is the whole process here. And the condition of service and the tenure of the office and all of these things are sort of determined by the president. Determined by the president. See, since then until today, Election Commission has been functioning as a multi-member body. But from its inception all the way till 1989, the Election Commission had only a single member. Only a single member. And, once the election, the voting age was reduced from 21 to 18, okay, 21 to 18, they felt one election commissioner, the chief election commissioner, that alone is not sufficient. So we need to have more. The chief election commissioners and some election and two other election commissioners have equal powers. And generally, if they have any sort of disagreement, the matter is decided by the commission by majority. So 2:1 or something like that. Okay. Now the president sort of decides what is the how long and what is the term of office and of tenure and all of that. Right now it is a term of 6 years or until they attain an age of 65 years. Okay, whichever is earlier. Now, why do they have like 6 years and all of that? Because just because you don't like a chief election commissioner or an election commissioner, you cannot just sort of remove that person. The point is they have to be independent, and they have to be given some sort of a tenure that they can feel comfortable with and sort of safe with. Okay, it cannot be easily taken away from them, so that they can do their job independently. Otherwise, what happens is that you want to ensure that you're in the good books of the executive, right, of the ruling politicians, so that you're not sort of removed from your position, all of that. No, but our founding fathers have given a very sort of a good thought to this and ensured that there is sufficient room for independence of the election commission or election commissioners. Okay, and they do not have to worry about any sort of interference from the government. Okay, and about this independence, take a look at this. So when it comes to the security of tenure, he cannot be removed from his office, or she cannot be removed from her office, except in some manner. And that manner is the same as removal of a Supreme Court judge. Okay, and generally for a Supreme Court judge or for an election commissioner, the process is that you have to pass a resolution for removal of this person, okay, in both houses with a special majority, and that is difficult, right? So if you want, think of this today. Lok Sabha mein, whatever it is, if you have a party whip and you say that every member part of the government, you should vote in favor of what we have in order to remove this particular person, that could happen in Lok Sabha. But in Rajya Sabha, again, you still don't have that majority, right? and plus it is special majority. Okay, so you cannot just easily pass things like that. So and even if you're doing so, it has to be based on certain grounds, and that ground is your proved misbehavior. So there has been some golmaal, some activity like that. Okay, that can, and if it can be sufficiently proven, then you can be then they can have this resolution, and get it passed by both houses of the parliament and special majority, or incapacity. Maybe that person is starting to lose his mind, there is some dementia, Alzheimer's, something like this, I don't know, something of that nature, that in sort of incapacitates that person from his ability or her ability to sort of deliver the to sort of deliver what they're supposed to. Okay, the service conditions after they have been appointed cannot be changed or varied to their disadvantage, meaning it has been like 6 years and then later you cannot change it to 5 years. You cannot change their salary and reduce it, things of that nature. Any other election commission or a regional commission cannot be removed from office except on the recommendation of the chief election commissioner as well. So see how many levels of protection it is being they are being provided in order to ensure that there is independence. Independence ke bina you cannot have free and fair elections. Okay, so though the constitution has sought to safeguard and ensure independence and impartiality, there are some flaws that can be noted. Just think about this. Okay, and these are not specifically flaws in my opinion, but these are things that you want to keep in mind. The constitution has not prescribed any qualifications, okay, on who can be or who should be appointed. The constitution has not specified the term of the members of the election commission, okay, and that is why it is left to the president. The constitution has not debarred the retiring election commissioner from any other further employment in the government. So what happens if you have a chance to still sort of go ahead and be involved in the government? So you don't want to be in the bad books of the government, because after you reach your or you attain your 65 years, you may be given some other posting. So you might, okay, for people who do not have the strongest of morals, let us just say, just an example, you might want to sort of be biased towards this government, thinking, let's say you're 64 years old, there are some pressing issues in which the opposition is making a lot of noise. You don't want to take a very strong stance, thinking that, hey, I am still eligible for some subsequent posting. Why do I want to sort of go against the government and sort of spoil that chance? So that's why they mention it like that. Okay, what are the powers and functions? In order, the powers and functions are anything that allows them or should allow them to ensure that there is free and fair elections and the mode of elections that we have in our country. Nomination process. Okay, what are the delimitations? What are the constituencies? What are the boundary of the constituencies? What are the sort of paperwork that you need in order for you to contest? What are the kind of paperwork that you need to be eligible to vote in that particular constituency? All of that, okay, for that you have the election commission that has been sort of empowered. So look at this: to determine the territorial areas of the electoral constituencies throughout the country on the basis of delimitation act. So delimitation act generally comes in some every decade or so, and this decides the territorial sort of boundary, so that all sort of constituencies have approximately similar numbers of people. So it could be that on average, it will not be that in one constituency you have 10,000 people voting, in another constituency you have 1 lakh kind of people, okay, or 1 crore kind of people. So the area, so it is not based on geographical area. This constituency can be this big because it's a city. The same thing, let's say in a Pahadi area, it could be this much of a geographical area, but the population approximately will be the same. Population approximately same, okay, not fully same. To notify the dates and schedules of elections and scrutinize the nomination papers. So let us say that you want to nominate yourself as a member, so you have to go through, when you sort of contest in elections these days, you have to submit what is called your, do you know what are the things that are there in your nomination papers? Have you guys seen a nomination paper? You've not seen a nomination paper, that is fine. So when I was very young, my uncle was a ward councillor, and I sort of used to accompany him to his those committee meetings and all of that. I kind of enjoyed politics, okay, and following politics, I like it, okay, I enjoy it. So in that, so because of my I just try to observe what happens and all that. So I've seen the things that you have to sort of fill out are primarily about what is your educational background. Okay, you will see that when you're about your sort of the people who are representing or wanting to represent you. Okay, you can take a look at it. Similarly, you have to give your sort of assets and liabilities ka total sort of value. Okay, how many loans you have, what are the fixed deposits you have, how much land do you own, and what is the value of that land, the not the registered values of that land. All of these things have to be mentioned. Okay, and third is about any sort of criminal cases or any those kind of cases that are that have been filed against you. So there is a section for that as well. These are all there in order to have full disclosure, so that you know who are the members who are going to, who are sort of contesting and whom do you want as your representative. Okay, so think of things of that nature. And I'm sure, okay, in case you really try to see what exactly a nomination paper looks like, you might be able to Google and find a PDF or something like that. I have not seen that, but I'm just giving you the bigger picture from what I have spoken to people, who are in the know. Okay, but again, it'll give you some good ideas about how things work. See, to give recognition to the political parties, okay, allot election symbols to them, things of that nature. For instance, I think I've told you guys about this one movie that I recently watched. It's about Mandela. Okay, it's not about Nelson Mandela, but it's a movie called Mandela. It was on Netflix. It's a Tamil movie, and it is about two villages, or so I guess the same village, which has a north and the south, or two different parts and two different castes. And both of the population of both of the adult members of the villages of these two castes are the same. Okay, so that means there has to it's a tie. It's going to be a tie. Okay, and then there is one barber in that village. Okay, and the barber is sort of made to get an election voting ID and whatnot, and sometimes he gets bribed, thinking that okay, maybe if he votes for us, it'll be great. But at the same time, if he votes for this political party, okay, the other group or the other one is going to sort of kill him or something like that. Right, so things of that nature. So for that one particular person, that is also the most important or a most wanted vote. At the same time, it is also that person, that vote, everybody knows whom he's going to vote for. So either he's going to make half the population very happy, or he's going to make half the population extremely sort of angry. Okay, so these sort of symbols. So in that movie, you have this thing where they give like two different symbols. One, I think one is like a I don't know, one is a coconut or something. I forget like what are the symbols. So you will see the process. Okay, they also act as a court for settling any sort of disputes regarding the recognition that are given to political parties, the symbols that are given to the political parties, inquiring into the disputes relating to electoral arrangements, determine the code of conduct. Okay, before 2 days before the election or after the election dates have been announced, what should be the code of conduct, right? To prepare a roster for the publicity, to advise the president on matters to disqualification of the members. See, number 9 and number 10 are sort of important. Okay, to advise the president on matters relating to the disqualifications of the members of parliament. To advise the president on matters regarding the disqualification of the members of the parliament. So let us say there is a disqualification of a member of parliament. Who decides that? It is the election commission who will advise the president on this matter. Similarly, in the state level, there is advising the governor. Okay, by the election commission. Also, number 11, this is also very important, to cancel the polls. An independent body to ensure free and fair elections. If it is there, you also have to ensure that it has sufficient teeth in order to sort of, if it's a sort of a model code of conduct or whatever it is, its sort of rules are sort of broken, then it should have some power to sort of even cancel the polls. So if you have rigging or booth capturing or any violence, they can cancel polls. And it has happened before. For instance, if you look at this, Tamil Nadu poll cancelled over bribing voters, and this happened in 2016. Okay, this sort of thing happened in 2016. I remember this. In recent years, we see a lot of sort of, a lot of ways in which the political parties find very, very sort of clever ways to get the members, the voting population, basically, the liquor and the money and all of that. So this, the two constituencies that we're talking about here, one was Tanjavur and the other one was Aravakurchi. Okay, and Senthil Balaji. I don't know if you guys would ever know these things. Okay, so what happened was some of the smaller parties had complained that the bigger parties were finding ways to sort of gift people with money. In fact, I guess even in this Mandela movie, you would notice this. The point was the members who go and vote for their political party will get a 20 rupee note with a particular sort of a what is that? There'll be a number in it, right? Some registered number or something like that. 2B, CCCD, something will be there, and that will be noted down. So what happens is, if you go and give that 20 rupee note, okay, with that particular whatever that key that is given in that particular note, then they will know that you've gone and voted for us. So you will be given whatever that is, 2,000 or 4,000 or whatever it is, okay, something like that. So what happened is the election commission found out that, okay, there has been 7 something crores of cash, 430 something liters of liquor that was been seized, okay, from these constituencies, or from this one particular constituencies, kgs of silver, and things of that nature. Okay, so liquor, cash, gold, saris, dhotis, all of that, the election commission, it found that. In fact, there are some sort of indirect ways of sort of bribing as well. So for instance, in some places you will see 50 lakh rupees to a village or to residential localities in order to renovate the temples, or in order to renovate something else. Sometimes they're given tokens to the families to purchase home appliances after the polls if they come to power. So things of that nature. So the political parties will keep getting sort of more and more inventive, but the election commission also has to sort of stay one step ahead of the game. Apart from that, to supervise the machinery of elections, ensure free and fair elections, to advise the president whether the elections can be held if it is a state emergency. So they have to advise the president whether they think that the situation is such that elections, or free and fair elections, can actually be conducted. Okay, and also there's registration of political parties, because there are some national parties, state parties, and with some certain criteria and all of that. And all of those things you will be able to find it in, there's a chapter called political parties. Okay, what exactly is your national party? What is the qualification, or what is the eligibility for that? What exactly is your state party? What exactly is the eligibility for that? So things of that nature.